completion of our graduation, જ્યારે આપણે start કરવું, then it's very difficult for us to take such risk. And the reason is that is mindset. And I've read one book regarding, mindset is everything. And that shows about attitude is everything. So, what you think, you become. And that's why we should not limit ourselves in just career opportunity as an employee. Because when we have seen as an entrepreneur, we are actually giving job to needy people, and the startup has actually given the platform to so many people in India in recent time, what we have observed and what we are seeing. Okay, so where do I start? If suppose if I say no, if you want freedom, if you want uh, more income, because of course we know as a employee we have a limitations. As an employee we cannot have that generation of income કે આજે તમારો કેટલું ટર્નઓવરમાં એટલું પૈસા રહેશે, એમાં તમારું એટલું પ્રોફિટ થશે. So we have these limitations, and that's why we cannot achieve those milestones. But sorry, what if I say that you want to become entrepreneur? So then what? If you want to achieve your dreams, if you want to achieve money, if you want a good life, if you really want to serve nation, you can do through the very, very important platform, that is through becoming a entrepreneur. Now, how and what and how I can do it? For this, what are the steps which as an entrepreneur I need to commence with? That is the first thing, that first we need to identify a need. Identify need means until unless we have studied in economics કે need અને supply ના relations રહે. Means કે જ્યારે માર્કેટની need રહેશે તો એ વસ્તુ તમે આપશો તો એ need જે છે fulfill અને it is going to be achieved. So need analysis is a very, very first important step, that what is the need of the society or the customer or the market. And for this purpose, we need to identify the target audience. But what I feel, before deciding the target audience, first, what is the problem? For example, I'm good in legal services, right? So I must be thinking, ki, okay, can I do create an app and through which I can provide the services where the platform where the lawyers listing can be done, and the specialization of lawyers will be there, and જેનો પણ problem રહેશે so they can actually approach. Okay, so for as an entrepreneur we should know what is a problem. And for problem, once we will identify how it is affecting the target audience, how much large target audience is there, whether only particular community is affected with this. And once we identify as an entrepreneur, because what vision you are carrying means what you want to provide to the society, provide to the customer, and then you can actually commence with the process, that is registering your business. And once we register a business, we know that there are process like, if you want to we are getting monetary benefits and sales and other aspect, monetary aspect, we need to open a bank account, and it can be through online presence. We have to ensure so that people, so that customers and the clients, they must know that yes, this is a business which is variable. Because we know that after before COVID, in fact, the IT, when it has commenced, we have seen there is a huge large scale where online business and IT has taken affected. Apart from that, we have to create a structure as an entrepreneur, and then after structure means there should be a system. And once there's a system, there's a process, and then after the process, of course, we know that at the end it is a sell. So this is a first step which we need to understand, that this is for any entrepreneur I'm talking about. But if we talk about what is a startup, we are actually listening a lot in last 5 years. If you see, there is a huge contribution and development in recent times. So Startup is a newly established business venture, and where we see either as an entrepreneur or visionary individual, they have identified unique product, services or technology to address a specific market need or problem. હવે જ્યારે તમને કહું unique product, services or technology, how far it is addressing the market need. એક છે ને મારી ફ્રેન્ડ મને કીધું કે there is one like place where she went કે ત્યાં ગ્રોસરી શોપમાં that for example કે આપણે તો જઈએ છે ને ગ્રોસરી શોપમાં લિસ્ટ sometimes it is like કે લિસ્ટ આપી દઈએ they are providing, but sometimes we forget the listing કે એમાં એ પણ વસ્તુ જોઈએ છે. જ્યારે આપણે મતલબ શોપમાં જોઈએ ગ્રોસરી શોપમાં ત્યારે we can actually pick the things. Okay, so a shop wala શું કર્યા કે that they have provide 360, that is you can visit the grocery shop so that you don't have to come, and you can actually put order and accordingly it will be delivered. So what I want to convey ki as a visionary individual or a business venture, as an entrepreneur, we have to develop some unique product or services or technology. Like for example, if you see Ola, Uber, right? When you see these platform, they have provided platform so that people who are struggling to other cities, they are able to get the services in easily. Why? Because it was people were really facing a lot of challenge when they were traveling in the other cities. કે ત્યાં જઈને કોના જોડે ટાઈઅપ કરવાનું યા કોઈ રેફરન્સ છે ત્યાંથી લેવાનું, and still we do not know to trust or not, sometimes that was a challenge. But when we see the innovation in terms of uniqueness, where Ola, Uber na potana like car nathi, but what they are doing, they are providing that platform where those who are owner of the car, they just register, and accordingly as a customer, when I put my demand or put my requirement, automatically the nearby availability car, we are getting the services. So a problem હતો. Same manner if you see Zomato. So there are number of instances where the uniqueness of the services and technology which has actually addressed the specific market in true sense, and it is not a particular group only, it is a large market which has been captured. So these ventures are actually, can be developed in e-commerce, in sectors as a technology, biotech, e-commerce, finance, and there are number of industry actually a અત્યારે છે ને vacant છે as a startup ethos. So there is a lot of scope if we actually think in that direction. And it is said that कि જ્યારે આપણે registered કરવાનું ને, so that it required not prior to 5 years if we are thinking about the entity which is registered for startup, either 5 years or 7 years, and 10 years. Now at present is 7 years, and now it is for by technology it is for 10 years. So when we register this, it must be ensure ki innovation છે, એમાં development છે, and then commercialization of either the product, the process or the services. So these three things is considered in startup, but it must be new, it must be novelty. જ્યારે પેટન્ટ એક્ટ તમે અગર ક્યારે રેફર કરશો, so એમાં specifically novelty કોને કહેવાય, that has been defined. And novelty means it is something just adding something or omitting, and then you have just minor bifurcation or minor element difference. That is not something novel, which is not existing in the market, and there is a demand, there is a useful, there is a utility, and it has a large number of industrial application where this will be determined. And once we enroll, once we register for startup, the tax benefits are actually be given after that certification. And we know that on 16th January every year we celebrate as a National Startup Day. થોડું આપણે હિસ્ટ્રી સ્ટાર્ટઅપના શું છે થોડું આપણે એના ઉપર હાઇલાઇટ કરીએ. Just I will not go in detail, but 2008 માં સ્ટાર્ટઅપના કન્સેપ્ટ ઇવોલ્વ થયા હતા. ઓકે, એન્ડ પછી there is a revolution of scheme of liberalization of computer, and but there were recession afterwards in IT companies, and so many employees were fired. Okay, and but then there is an era suddenly jema policy bazaar, Zomato, Flipkart, they all came into limelight. And then finally in 2015, we know that August 15, Honorable Prime Minister, by way of Boost Stand Up India, the Startup India initiative launched in January 2016. And the purpose is again to robust startup ecosystem and transferring India into a country of job creator instead of job seeker. If you see, we have heard that most of the products actually captured by China because of again the pricing and the demand what is required. So the vision of Prime Minister uh, has been actually commenced with the motto of transforming India into a country of job creators. And that's why we have been seeing that there is a startup, this growth of startup business drive sustainable development and generate large scale employment and opportunities to our Indian people. થોડું હું તમને સ્ટાર્ટઅપ ગ્રોથ કેવી રીતે ઇન્ડિયામાં થયો છે, જસ્ટ we can have a glimpse that India is considered to be third largest startup ecosystem in the world, and I believe that we are going to touch the first largest startup ecosystem in the world. In 2021 જે મારા પાસે અત્યારે જે ડાટા એમાં જે રેફર થયા છે, in which there are 4,17,000 like startups in India has been introduced. Apart from that, there is the annual growth rate is 12 to 15%, and if you see that all states have a startup policy of their own. Okay, and there is like fund raised 26.3 billion fund has been raised by the startup in the year 2018. And if you see, there are a number of instances of startups such as Oyo, Flipkart, Pharmacy, Pharma Easy, that is Razopay, then Unacademy Policy, Bazaar, Urban Companies, Zomato, etc. And if you see the drastic, one instance example, that is Mama Earth, where if you see that how it has, within a 5 to 7 years, it has actually reached to 7,000 crore. Okay, and in the same manner, Tiger Global, that is 2.2 billion, they have that is reached to this 2.2 billion. Now, when we talk about process of startup, now process of startup में what exactly we need to do it. So for for startup જ્યારે આપણે વાત કરીએ, we need to understand कि process માં सबसे पहली वस्तु idea. Now, idea is something which is something creating, generating again and again. And when we talk about generating idea, we need to rigorously work on that. What should be the new, what is the problem, what is new in this, what is the novelty in this, what has been not discovered, what has been not actually utilized, what is the problem in the society, and thereafter we can commence with the prototype development of that idea. Because idea in if you see in intellectual property rights, initially the idea was not considered as a intellectual property rights, but after if you see 50, 40 30 years back, that thereafter we are able to see that industrial for development that has been considered कि આપણા ખાલી પ્રોપર્ટી મૂવેબલ પ્રોપર્ટી અને ઇમૂવેબલ પ્રોપર્ટીને જ ખાલી આપણે પ્રોટેક્શન આપીએ તો નહીં ચાલે. સો એના માટે then they have actually started with industrial development where ideas were generated and either the product or the services were required to be given protection. And that's why in India intellectual property rights for the purpose of patent, whether it is for copyright, trademark, trade secret, trade design, so all where has been emerged and the protection has been given. Okay, so જ્યારે આપણે આઈડિયા જનરેટ કર્યો, એનો એક પ્રોટોટાઇપ ડેવલપમેન્ટ કર્યા, then we required to do a planning. Why? Because જ્યારે આપણે પ્લાનિંગની વાત કરીએ તો એ કેવી રીતે થશે, because we have to rigorously, it is not just one day process ki mane aje thayo, and then I have created this, and I feel that this will be considered to be a great startup. Okay, so for this purpose we require ki કેવી રીતે how it is going to help maximum to the people. For example, તમને કહું કે જ્યારે આપણે when we see there is like car, when we are getting the scratches, it was when we are putting into the showroom, it was actually amounting huge in thousands, like sometime 9,000, 8,000, 10,000, and people will actually struggling also that how it can be થોડું લાગી ગયું છે એટલે આપણો તો નુકસાન થઈ ગયા, right? But then the company, they have offered with the quotation scratches and cosmetic changes with a very nominal value, like 1,000 or 1,500. Okay, and they were providing services at your place. In fact, if you go to show uh, various malls also, there people are just putting that services, and it is really helping a lot, and people are utilizing, because that is giving a very nominal value in terms of, and these are a very very common problem and challenges which the public is facing. So once we identify the idea, the development and the planning, we should know the teamwork, because it's like it is not a game of one person. So we required that there should be good team of expertise, whether it is like uh, marketing, the strategy, then we must have like a manufacturing, then HR. So there should be people of expert people who actually work in terms of, because then only we are able to achieve in a faster way. How much investment we require, what is the revenue model, how much investment will be there. So finalizing the revenue model, because once we are planning, we are taking the assistance of the a certain expert in that generating the revenue model. And thereafter, how to identify the trends, what is the going on, going through the people, those who are running a similar type of business, asking from them, understanding from them, and then accordingly we are able to identify that what is the problem, and then streamlining that how it will be implemented. So what resources we have, what strategy we have for implementing that product or the services. And afterwards we should know that fundraising is playing very very important role. So how much fund is required, from where fund will be emerged, from where we can take funding. So these all things were considered when we go for the process of startup. And once we do this, we are building a team, and then we actually गाड़ी कहते हैं ना पटरी ऊपर, how it will commence. So this is how the process of startup begin. So, what we require for startup, there are four important elements. One is, I'll start with innovation. Innovation, already we discussed that there is a novelty and novelty solution, which is actually redefining the industry, which I've given you example, such as Ola, Uber, Zomato, Mama. So it should be actually drastically making difference in the industry in terms of utility, in terms of monetary benefits, in terms of utility, in terms of uniqueness. These all things need to be considered. Same manner, scalability. So when we talk about in startup, there is a design. It should be designed such a way there is a this rapid growth, means this scalable business model that can expand quickly to capture the larger market shares. It should not be only limited scope where it cannot be reached to all the markets. Okay. Third is risk taking. Yes, as a entrepreneur, it is very much required that you should come up with the journey of traditional market with unconventional approaches and bold strategy, and strong funding strategy actions plan. Okay, where your journey should be actually not that risky, because once you have a plan A, plan B, plan C, so automatically, despite you will fail in one, you must have then what can be next. And yes, you must have entrepreneurship that is spirit, which actually gives the vision, passion. Because if you do not have that, passion and vision to achieve such milestone, you cannot be into this startup process. And you should be ready and willing to learn from failures also. Like sometimes we as human beings, we are really disappointed, and sometimes we quit. So the approach for the entrepreneurship must be more of, learning from the failures and the feedbacks instead of considering it as a failure. So in India, startup under specified criteria which is set by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internet Trade. So that operates under Ministry of Commerce Industry. So they have defined the conducive environment for the growth of new and innovative ventures. So what are those which consider under this? First is the age of the company, that it should be, the entity should be incorporated or registered in India for not more than 10 years from its date of incorporation. From that date, it will be counted. Second is type of entity. It must be incorporated as a private limited company, a registered partnership firm, or a limited liability partnership. So that is LLP. Okay. Third is the initially the turnover was 25 crore, but now it has been increased. So the entity annual turnover should not have exceeded, that is 100 crore. Okay, and in the financial year since its incorporation. Apart from that, એમાં એક બહુ જ મોટી ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ વસ્તુ કે એન્ટિટી એવું ના હોવું જોઈએ કે પહેલા તમે સ્ટાબ્લિશ કરીને પછી સ્પ્લિટ કરીને તમે રીકન્સ્ટ્રક્ટ કરીને તમે પછી સ્ટાર્ટઅપમાં બતાવો અને પછી તમે એમાં બેનિફિટ લેવા માંગો છો, so then it will not be going to consider in that criteria. Okay. And the lastly is innovative and scalable. As already we discussed on this point, that if we want to like register for innovation, like for startup, it must be innovative development, improvement of the product, process, or services, and it has a very high scalable business model with a high potential for employment generation or as well as wealth creation. So મોટા ભાગે, what is the problem, ચલો આપણે model, but we face in implementation. Means when we have an idea, we are confident also, but when it comes to implementing, it is very, very difficult task. So first is that we have to be a very proactive. This means we should not be like, we should be very firm. We should actually talk about your idea and passion. The more you will talk, the more you will talk with the similar nature of people, those who are doing the experienced people. Okay, so like for example, if we are talking about on such ideas with a maximum, on ground reality, it will really create a lot of confidence and a lot of awareness that yes, actually it can be feasible, and it can actually earn in true sense where we are actually able to capture the market. But for this purpose, believing in yourself. If you do not believe, we cannot understand that people or the customer or the client, they are going to trust on us, or the investor, they are going to trust on us. Then whether my that is business model is really going to help the customer or clients, whether they are going to benefit it, in what extent, how far your services or the product will be purchased, how far it is a need, how far it is the need is actually going to be achieved. And apart from that, identify the current flaw in product or services, because sometimes it happens, we do not find the lacunas or challenges what the products or services they are facing on ground. So we need to identify the current flaws or the good things which is, because we need to consider all those aspects. And lastly, then only we can actually go for the process of registering and obtaining, that is registration number. So what if I will register for startup? Then what? How far it is going to be beneficial for me? So પહેલા તો income tax relief for 3 years. અને જ્યારે વાત કરું છું કે 3 વર્ષ, the best part, for example, if any incorporation has been registered, so within a 7 years, Okay, initial માં તો frankly speaking there is a lot, like not much તમારો income થાય છે એટલે it is not necessary to take benefit on in these initial years. So in fact after 3 years પણ જ્યારે આપણો actual income start થાય છે, then that time we can actually take the income tax relief for 3 years. And also there is a good initiatives in terms of very good initiative that the assessment sale જેમાં capital gain tax કહેવાય. Okay, so there no income tax or investment or liability જે છે, okay, that will be actually given benefit that you are exempted from such capital gain tax. Apart from that, labor and environmental inspection nahi થાય. So initial 3 years only what we need to do, we have to provide a self certification. Self certification means कि we have to give it that we will be abide by that, and we will follow the laws and the norms which is prevailing in India on that period of time. Okay, that is more than enough. But એવું બી નથી કે પછી આપણે તો આપી દીધું કોઈ આવવાના નથી, but then doesn't mean कि whatever we can disobey, or we can actually I'm going to not following the norms. Okay, ત્રીજો છે 80% rebate on patent fee and 50% rebate on trademark fee. So જ્યારે આપણે patent fee જ્યારે apply કરીએ patent માટે, so it is like 35,000. Okay, so 35,000 માં તમારો 80% અગર તમને rebate મળે, so that is really going to help at initial stage, because that time each penny is counting. In the same manner, 50% rebate on trademark fee, although that is very nominal, I think 5,000 or 10,000, not more than that. But at least a time it is really going to help. Apart from that, benefits in public procurement and can register on eGem portal. So as you know that ki jare tender mate, you must have turnover of 500 crores and organization na tamara 10 વર્ષ હોવું જોઈએ. So for public procurement you must have criteria to fulfill this, and then only you can go for the this public procurement and register on eGem portal. But for startup, they have been given support, that access to funding through government schemes and venture capital, so they can be also getting the benefits of all those that is procurement of government schemes which can be availed by the that is the owners. Okay, apart from that, there is a support for intellectual property rights protection and fast tracking patent application. So, in terms of startup, the support for intellectual property rights will be given. Along with that, fast tracking application. As if you go through the process of patent, although આપણે અત્યારે આજે પેટન્ટ રજિસ્ટર કરવાનો છે એ નહીં આપણે બધા ડિસ્કસ કરવાના છે, but trust me, it takes at least એની પ્રોસેસ એટલી છે લાંબી કે more than 3 years ઘણી ટાઈમ થઈ જાય છે. Okay, so because એ પ્રોસેસમાં એટલું છે જ કે એમાં તમારો 6 મહિના 1 વર્ષમાં થાય, એ પછીના પછી એક્સેપ્ટ થાય કે નહીં થાય, તો એ પ્રોસેસમાં બહુ ટાઈમ. પણ because of startup, fast tracking patent application has been the facility has been provided. And the credit that is guarantee and mentor facility is available on startup India, that is .government.in. So government ne ઘણી ટાઈમ છે ને કે તમારો ક્રેડિટ તમારો પૈસા લેવાનો છે, તો who will provide you that credit guarantee? So the government is allocating and as well as providing this services. And most importantly, if you go on startupindia.gov government.in, then you can get the mentor facility. So they are actually providing the support in terms of startup, ટેકનિકલ માં કન્સર્ન છે, માર્કેટમાં કે કસ્ટમરમાં ડિફિકલ્ટી થઈ ગઈ છે. So these all were provided in terms of services. And lastly, that is benefits under the Startup India initiatives such as easier public procurement norms and self certification, which is actually provided to that is once we register under the startup. So every coin has a two sides. Of course, एक वस्तु सारू रहશે, एक वस्तु चैलेंज रहશે. Okay, so what are the first of all challenges and opportunities? જ્યારે આપણે ચેલેન્જ એન્ડ ઓપોર્ચ્યુનિટીઝની વાત કરીએ ત્યારે આપણે જોઈએ, so it actually provide that it face a lot of challenges. whether funding, whether team building, whether navigating the hurdles, gaining traction, competitive markets. So these all are a few example of that is obstacles what we face when we go through the process. But startup matters. Why? Because it is not just a growth of an organization, but it is the engine of economic growth of nation, and which drives a social change, and drastically it can provide create a job, attract investment, bringing new products, services to the market, and ultimately shaping the future of the industry and society. These are few examples of innovation. Like if you see Apple, which has actually changed music and consumer electronics, same manner Uber, which already I've discussed, then airnet, which has changed the accommodation industry. Amazon also, if you see, it does not sell any product. It is actually providing the platform to the sellers and the customers who can actually buy, and the sellers can sell their product on their platform. Along with that, Google is again a searching engine, and Facebook, if you see, that has a drastic innovation by, because people were connected on social network. कितने मतलब, previously school time, friends, and we are able to connect. So those networking market has IT market has actually helped, whether if you see the WhatsApp, LinkedIn, and so many other social media has really helped in personal communication market. Then we have Dunzo easing delivery, and car okay, which I talked about, the car repair and services, which is actually providing even very nominal rates, and which is helping for monetary benefit, time services, and easiest way to get the services. Now, what if I need to get, I need to go for startup, from where and how to get the funding? That is the biggest challenge what normally people face. So the first is, when we talk about, that is uh, bootstrapping your startup business. So when we talk about strapping your startup business, is the foundation. That is uh, how to get money. The first thing is of course my self investment, my investment which I'm getting from the support of my family, my friends, my relative. Okay, so initially when we start, we always start with a bootstrapping. Okay, second is crowdfunding as a funding option. So crowdfunding, the word itself says that you are you are getting from fund from the various people. Okay, so this is a very popular crowdfunding sites in India, which already I have mentioned in this. So you just need to register and share your business idea, and in which there are so many small ideas, as well as small stakes you have to provide whoever is investing, and you are getting funding from different people. Small fund and small stake you have to give it. So this is a crowdfunding as a one of the funding option. Third is that is to get the angel investment in your startup. So startup idea, concept, and investors, if they want to investment. So if you have a scale, large scale, you have to provide them equity and share. But in this case, they are providing you mentorship, technical guidance, that is the experience, their experience, and the funding is more. So here the stake, like if you see the crowdfunding, the stake is very small, but here if you see an angel investment, the stakes are higher, that is in terms of equity and share, and also they you need to make a very clear plan, because it's a huge investment. So of course there should be more clarity, more clear plan, that how far on ground it is going to, why investors they should invest in your business. Okay, so for this purpose, the more it is going to be developed in long term, so the more you will get the investor, and automatically you have to provide the equity, that is your share. Okay, so because when it is on large scale, the investor are always thinking that why I should put my investment, because there is always an expectation कि હું એમાં એટલું બધું આપું તો મને શું મળવાનું છે, right? So accordingly it is mentioned that in angel investment your plan, your clarity and everything must be very very clear. Next is venture capital for your business capitalist in India. And if your business is going good, but you want to expand or you want to invest more or you want to grow your business, so then you need more, sometime like for example कि मारा ત્યારે એક સેન્ટર મારા એક જગ્યા વડોદરામાં બિઝનેસ ચાલી રહ્યા છે, મારે બ્રાન્ચેસ ઓર કરવાનું છે બીજી સિટીઝમાં, or I need to expand there only in that particular city, or I need to export in foreign countries. So that time I need to get venture capital for business capitalist, and for these are the various platform where you need to register, and there they are supporting and they are providing this capital support. Next is getting that is funding from business incubators and accelerators. So incubators is just go with idea. They provide small amount of payment and they provide you support. So it's like you have to register there, and they help you. You have to just pay with certain amount. So it's like they are going to be mentoring you and they are giving you guidance, their mentorship, and they are also helping you in supporting you to how to get the funding. So it's like a agent who is helping you to how to go through the process and development and guidance and funding, etc. Okay. uh, then if you see, the next is that is venture capital. So if you have business going good, okay, and but you want to expand an investment which is business is going and growing in more cities. So then with the with this you can actually just you have to what do you have to go for the contest, you have to go for the competitions, and there what happened, the investors they actually grab your attention, they grab attention on your startup. So then what happened it is really helping a lot that you get easily startup investments. And the remaining is like more of how to raise money, in conventional or traditional way, we can say. So where business, you can get it through bank loans, then you can get it through business loan from microfinance providers, then government programs that offers capital, startup capital and other quick ways like which you can actually do it, because it's like there are two three ways you should know कि how to, whether you will get it through bank loan make up jana hai, then you should not go, because the moment you'll go for bank loan you have to start with next month it will start with EMI and installment part. Okay, but if you go through the previous private investors, so you know that they will put it certain 50-60 investment and how much they're expecting, how much the ratio they will get it from the profit. So these all things will need to be considered, that if we talk about funding, which funding we want at, for example, if I know he if I go for like for example this Ola, right? I'm firm that my risk factor is very less, so I should not go. Then if I'm a very fledged plan, I should not go for such type of funding. Then I can go for banking, that is loan, and there I can get the support, and accordingly, yeah. Sometimes it also happens that Product pre-sale means like if, for example, if I am working on some energy like that is solar energy, I know that yeah, I can take from the clients or customers, so I can get it some fee 50% advance booking. And sale of asset, if I want that I have an asset and I can sell it and I can get the funding from that also, or oblique the credit card. So these are the various ways where through which we can get the fundings. This is just a glimpse to understand the startup valuation financial cycle with revenue and time. So if you see that no revenue is actually generated at initial stage. So but always, because it take time, it take process. So foundation, if you see, The capital, it's like, the angel, the investor, family, friends, your seed capital is actually generated, and you have to actually incorporate. Okay, slowly steady early stage, it is like, we are just putting, and when it comes to break even, it established and boost. So that period of time, we can see there are, number of investors like the private equity, merger acquisition, at the later stage we are actually, getting it. And at the last stage, if you see how the time, goes, so initial public, that is offers, where which is given in the public market, for second offering, where we can actually get it in true sense of, development of our startup. So this is just a glimpse to understand how at initial stage we are starting with the time, and financial cycle, how it works, and then how it, from time to time, it goes, and it, goes and grow and develop. Now comes to the legal aspect involved in startup in India. So if you see, the first step is formalizing business structure and founders agreement. So there are different types of business. One is sole proprietorship, private limited, public limited, partnership, and limited, that is liability partnership. So in sole partnership, we know that it is the individual own the business and operates the business. Okay, and the owner has a complete control over decision making. But again, and we know that the examples are the retail shop, freelance, and services. But a sole proprietorship is not recognized as a startup under the Startup India. Okay, and one should be very cautious while choosing which type of business you are going to initiate. Second is private limited. Of course, it has, like, it is also known as shareholders. So minimum of two shareholders, and can have maximum 200 shareholders. And the liability of shareholder here in this case is limited to the investment. And in this, there are a number of examples, like in case of manufacturing, technology, services, retail, etc. The aiming for growth and expansion while maintaining control over ownership. Third is public limited company. So when we talk about public limited company, again, it is like, similar to private limited company, but it can have unlimited numbers of shareholders. There is no limitation, like 200, and its shares are traded publicly on stock exchange. So again, they are banking sector, energy, telecommunication, consumer goods, etc. Then next business is partnership. Of course, there are minimum two or more individuals. Share ownership must be there, and they're managing profits and liabilities, which can be generally partnership, general partnership, or limited partnership, or limited liability partnership. So each will be varying as per the level of the liability protection for partnership. And again, this can be a professional such as lawyer, accountants, doctors, who can collaborate and share the resources. And this is also very common in small businesses like law firms, accounting, family owned business, etc. Next is limited liability partnership. So of course, it is considered to be hybrid business structure that combines the features of partnership and corporation. And it is actually offering the limited liability protection to its partners. And personally, we are not personally liable for the debts and liabilities for the partnership. So what we have understood, ki there are different type of business, but when we talk about business, once we have identified, we need to choose a legal structure. Means deciding whether to form a private limited company, limited liability partnership, or partnership firm. So because each structure has a different legal implication, tax liabilities, and regulatory requirements. So follow the process of incorporating business with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs for private limited company and LLP, or with register of firms for partnership firm. So once we have identified, then we will go with the compliance with the Companies Act, because then only it will be registered. So we should know, ensure the company is registered under the Companies Act, and then only we can get the certificate of incorporation. But for this purpose, we need to adhere with the statutory compliance, such as filing annual returns, holding board meetings, maintaining statutory register, submitting financial statements. So we have to adhere once it is registered. Apply for business license is must, because mostly sometime student they ask question ki uh, 4 महीना हुआ है, then whether we should go for registration or not. So frankly speaking, it requires some more time, because law doesn't say is that ki you have to register within a 1 month. Because once you are confident about your uh, startup and the services or the product, how far it is going to novelty it is going to capture the market, so then you go for the business license, which is officially required to be individually, that every person, every individual who is going to start up, they should know ki where to register. Because normally the registration is geographical jurisdiction where the business is going to perform. So you have to give the business regulations and standards and operation legally. So for this purpose, although I'm not going for each and every detail, but I can share you that where you can go for the registration process. One is on Ministry of Corporate Affairs, I have like included in this the link. That is www.nca.government.in. Then we have a MSME, that is micro, small, and medium enterprise. Again, you can just write it. You can go through and you can register in that. Then there is a Udyam registration also for new enterprise who are not registered yet as a MSME. Okay, and then Startup India, again, Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion Industry of from Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So here you can go once you decide कि, okay, I need to go for startup, the business type, and then you can actually incorporate for the business type what you want to register. This is just a glimpse that sometimes people don't know ki what name and classification of your product. So you can just go for that is Ministry of that is Corporate Affairs. So there you will find the company services and incorporation. There you can identify the check the company name and type and the domain name, whether it is available or not. So once you get it, you once you confirm, so 20 days will be given to you, and you can register thereafter. Then you can also identify the trademark name, proposed name, and check the domain name and trademark classes, like in which class it identified. There is a classification of goods. There are more than 34 category. So I have like you can go to the that is a link, so you can get the classification, or otherwise if you can put it classification of goods in trademark classes in fourth schedule, you will get it the ipindia.government.in classification of goods. So there you actually come to know ki my product or my services are falling under which category. So once you identify and once you go through the process, this is something you have to register, and then accordingly you will be beneficial with the benefits like tax exemption, or the high access of intellectual property, relaxation in public procurements, self certification under the labor and law, and very easy way of winding a process also. So there are number of more that that facilities are available. So business license is very important legal document, and which is very importantly required. Like if there is a common license, you can go for business is the that is Shop and Establishment Act, which is applicable to all premises, whether where trade, business, or profession is carried out. Third is undertaking, that is taxation and accounting laws. So we know that once it is registered, taxation and accounting laws are also fundamental, very important, that we have to comply with the requirement and contribute to the financial health and credibility of a startup. So for this purpose, already we have shared and discussed this aspect. That is more than 7 years and incorporation of registration. Then turnover 100 crores. Sorry, it is like by mistake. It is not changed. Startup should not be formed by splitting or reconstructing any existing business. Then very important that we must have obtaining a permanent account number. uh, Despite you have your own personal PAN number, but still for your company you have to obtain that is permanent account number, and also that is tax deduction and collection account number, that is TAN for your business. Apart from that, GST registration for goods and services also compulsory. But again, if your turnover is like for goods 40 lakhs and for services 20 lakhs, then only you need to get the GST, and then accordingly you have to follow the that is GST norms. Apart from that, income tax compliance, we have to adhere to the income tax regulation. But as I mentioned you that in startup there is an exemption for 3 years, but within a 7 years you can take benefit at not at initial stage, but later on that will be beneficial. Adhering to the labor laws. Now we know that at present we have a labor code which has four code has been identified, and laws such as minimum wages, gratuity, PF, weekly holidays, material benefits, sexual harassment, payment of bonus, and these all need to be complied. Although at initial stage exemptions are there, means the labor officer are not going to come and going to inspect that whether you are following this norms or not. But it doesn't mean कि આપણી ઈચ્છા થાય એટલે કોઈ જોવા નહીં આવવાના એટલે we can break the norms. Okay, we have to follow and we are abide by this labor laws. Apart from that, the next is the employment contract compliance with labor laws and employee benefits. See, normally it has happened कि જ્યારે as a when we start up documents are very important, especially legal documents such as shareholder agreement हो चाहिए, partnership अगर partnership છે એમાં તો partnership agreement, employment agreement. So these all must be strictly in fact જેટલું initial stage માં clarity અને clarity જોડે terms and condition once we make it, so automatically it is really going to help to implement. Okay, so employment contract must be very clear, comprehensive, and employment contract which provides terms of employment, job responsibility, and termination conditions future. Okay, then we must comply with the labor laws and employee benefits not part, because frankly speaking, at the end, your employees are going to be your assets. If we take as a entrepreneur, as a owner, or as an employer, so automatically people will not leave, because if there is a change of employees a lot, it really affects a lot, because it will not give us sustainable results. Next is ensuring the protection of intellectual property. So whether it is a patent or copyright or trademark, so you must have, like, because felicitors are there once we register, so they are providing advisory services and assisting in patent filing and disposal, how patent application can be with the minimum charges, as already mentioned, at 80% is fee is actually exempted. We know that what are the IPR? One is patent, trademark, copyright, trade secret. So mostly, if we are trademark, we should know that what word, what phrase, what symbol, what design, what combination we are actually identifying goods or services, so that it should get the legal protection. Because it is not necessary that if trademark is not registered, you will not get your rights. Okay, but the burden of proof lies on that person who claimed that it is my trademark, means my mark has been tried to try to deceive the customers. Okay, so we should yeah, if we are registering, so always the rights and benefits will be given in your favor. Apart from that, we know that trade secret, like example of KFC and Coca-Cola, that still we do not know how the Coca-Cola, that recipe, which has been still not knowing, and whether it is, anytime we find the same taste and same class. So the protection has been given under the legal that is laws, like for Patent Act, Trademark Act, Copyright Act, and Trade secret, we do not have a specific law, but there is a non-disclosure document which we need to sign by the employees. So we need to register, either protect, if you want to protect your trademark, either brand name, logo, and slogan, and all these registration is online. You don't have to go anywhere. Okay, so whether it is a patent filing, copyright protection, and trademark registration. Apart from that, we need to comply with the regulatory compliance, that is environmental law and the industrial specific license. So comply with environmental regulation, that if your startup activities impact the environment, you should adhere with the Environment Protection Act. It's like whether water, whether air. Because we cannot say, law says that you cannot take benefit, that ignorance of law is no excuse. So if I know that I am dealing with this business, I must know the law and I must comply. So in the same manner, industrial specific license, for example, if there is a food industry, we know that, or there's a drug, whether it is a financial services. So we know that we need to register for specific industry, ensuring effective contract management, because we know that if any agreements or are contracts, if they are made with the free consent of parties. Okay, so employee contracts are one of the most crucial aspect to be looked into while starting a venture, because otherwise if there is a salary, scope of work, non-disclosure agreement need to be drafted and used by startup, and it has to be clarified at the initial stage. Later on, otherwise there is so many of disputes, and then then we have to go and rush to the court, and again our energy just going vain. So drafting contracts and non-disclosure agreement is very very essential, and we must put efforts and take legal assistance from the lawyer, or otherwise the assistant from the once we register. As already mentioned, how the government is also helping to support, like for example Startup India, so they are providing the support and guidance. Apart from that, fundraising, already I mentioned that how fundraised and investment part can be done. This already we have discussed. And next is, yes, the data protection and privacy. So we need to comply with the IT Act 2000 in terms of data protection, privacy policy, and cyber security. So as a startup, you must have your own policy regarding that data protection and cyber security measures, what we are implementing at your, that is your business. Apart from that, that is privacy policy is again clear, and it should be handled very very carefully, because it's like personal data of customers or users. Okay, it required to be provided application in terms of data protection laws. And lastly, that is exit strategy resolution, where if I want to exit from the legal standpoint, there are basically three ways to shut down. One is fast track exit mode, where like under the Companies Act, where a star can see if within a 1 year, if it is not like doing business, so it can be closed as per their signature and that is authority. Apart from that, as a person, as a entrepreneur, or as a that is shareholder, stakeholder, I can go before the, like we can go before the court or tribunal route, or voluntary closure can also be done. So these were the winding up procedures which need to be followed under the Companies Act. And insolvency and bankruptcy code, again, this will be the act which need to be restructuring, or insolvency proceedings can be conducted. Apart from that, what is the step for registration of Startup India? Although this we have discussed, just we will have a glimpse, so that if any point we have missed it, we can just go through it. So it's like incorporation or business, choosing your business structure under the various, whether Companies Act, Partnership Act, or Limited Liability Partnership Act. Then step two, incorporate private limited company, that you need to obtain digital signature certificate for the directors and apply for director identification number, and register your company with the name with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and we must file incorporation documents such as memorandum of association, article of association, and then finally we receive the certificate of incorporation. In same manner, when it comes to partnership firm and LLP, the same process need to be conducted. Apart from the register with Startup India, that you can go visit Startup India website, and there you can register button and sign up as a user and fill the required details and create your profile. Apply for DPIIT recognition. So fill out the startup recognition form details, your entity address, authorized representation details, directors, PAN number, TAN number, incorporation, etc. Upload all necessary documents and certificate of incorporation, proof of funding, details of patent and trademarks if you have, and a brief description of innovative nature of your products. And lastly, self-certify. Self-certify that you are not forming any entity by splitting or reconstructing or existing business. And lastly, that is obtaining recognition number. That is after successful submission verification, you get the recognition number for your startup, and then only you can actually avail the benefits of tax exemption and funding opportunities, intellectual property rights, and additional benefits. Now, the last part of our that is presentation, that is ethical consideration for startups. So, ethical consideration means that whenever you are running any business, it's very viable and important that there are certain ethical concerns which we need to perform. That is for example, the first is duty towards the, because if we are earning, like purpose of startup is to earn profit, but while earning profit, it ethical should not be ignored. So for example, what is the duty towards customer? So when we talk about duty towards customer, it's like how much with your product or process or services, how far it is benefiting to the customer from time to time, whether you are providing the services, whether it is actually the need or the best customer services or customer satisfaction, whether you are able to cater it or not. That is the first thing. Second is duty towards the employees. So when we talk about employees, we know that TCS, how far they are taking care of the employees, and that's why people doesn't want to quit. So the atmosphere, the employee salary, the output, the labor law, norms which is protecting their rights. Okay, so these all nahi ho raha hai doesn't mean that we will violate employees right. Same manner, environment. So no license will be given to you, but it doesn't mean that if license 1 year 2 year inspection will not be there, we need to adhere with the environment norms. It is very important duty towards a startup that employee in a startup should prioritize the interest of the startup rather than their personal interest. All the employees should work together for the growth of startup. And if we talk about communities, so ethical business grow up in long way when otherwise if we are not contributing to the community, the members, they should also feel that yes, organization is working for the welfare of the certain committees. And lastly, that is issues with respect to labor law that we need to do, and that is compliance, and we should not violate the labor laws. Apart from that, what we can do for considering ethical consideration, that corporate social responsibility, so that we are taking initiative to benefit the society and the environment beyond our business and the laws which we need to actually apply, so that the integrity and how far the stakeholders will have more trust, and the product or your company has a brand reputation and the loyalty, and automatically customer attract and retain because they see that you have various ethical practices, and it will actually create the bonding between more of communities and the stakeholders. So there are a number of initiatives. These are few examples, like what can be done: engaging in local community projects, it may be educational programs, supporting local charities, and providing disaster relief. Apart from that, ethical sourcing, that raw material products were sourced from suppliers who actually follow fair labor practices, and implementing fair trade practices. Ye nahi that if I'm getting benefit, I'm saving my money, so I should do unethical trade practices. In the same manner, how far sustainable practices we are doing, like reducing footprint through energy efficient operation, implementing recycling programs, and creating eco-friendly products and packaging. So these were, if we do this, we are actually getting a lot of benefits like brand differentiation, employee engagement, risk management, and financial performance. Apart from that, fair employment practice is one of the very, very important, because if we do not do, then automatically the employee moral and productivity, it will decrease. Because if we take care, fair treatment leads to higher morale, job satisfaction, and productivity is enhancing. So at long run, if we want to get the results, we need to ensure this practice, and automatically we enhance, or we actually attract talent attraction and retention in the that is company. Apart from that, there are a number of key issues normally people face, that discrimination on the basis of race, gender, age, religion. Apart from that, harassment. So it should be establishing a zero tolerance policy for harassment, where we must have a mechanism for reporting and addressing complaints. Equal pay for equal work, which is again a constitutional rights. Apart from that, HR policy and training, that how far we are time to time training, HR policies, then training programs were done, so that the employees and management, they should aware as well as enhance their skill and knowledge and awareness about equity, inclusion, and anti-harassment. And there should be, of course, when we say reporting mechanism, so confidentially things should be taken care, and prompt and fair resolution should be provided. And lastly, if you see, that is environmental impact is one of the very, very important ethical aspect, where we have to see and observe global challenge, consumer demand, and regulatory that is compliance. That how far we can take care in such a way that future generation, as well as future that is environment, addressing environment sustainability, and demand increase in demand, consumer that is preferences and need should be also taken care. There are various ways where we can actually minimize with energy efficiency, waste reduction, and eco-friendly products. And this is, trust me, at initial stage, it is helping startup to save cost, market differentiation, investor attraction, and long-term viability. So, lastly, to sum up with, startup is a very good opportunity to strive for our own passion, because if we start, the journey will begin. Until unless we are not starting, we are not doing, we will not avail the very good opportunity. Apart from that, a lot of support, because government has already, I mentioned you the funding, the support, and how government is rigorously working, and that's why the funding is also given by the government, state government. That that's why through the SIP, we are actually providing, like getting the platform to get the guidance and support, and emergence. Funds can also be managed, and that is also not a big deal, because we initially, once the system is created and the fundings were taken care from with the guidance, and with the support of, for example, angel investors also, then automatically it really helps, and we can actually deal, legally issues can be handled very properly, because at initial stage, if our compliance are properly implemented, automatically we will not face legal issues. It is always said that instead of facing the challenge afterwards, it is better to create that system. And with the startup, we can actually contribute greatly to better country. Better country means where it is not about only one individual company or business, but it is actually contributing to generate economic development, economic growth of the nation. And we, by this means, we are providing better services to the people. And at the end, we are actually able to achieve that satisfaction level. So, lastly, I will end with the quote that today is difficult. It is not that easy, but tomorrow is much more difficult, because the more situations and things will come, it will be more difficult. But the day after tomorrow is beautiful. So, with this note, I just want to convey thanks to the organizer, and special thanks for providing me opportunity, in fact, to speak and to share view on this very very important aspect. So over to you. Thank you.
Yes. Anyone, if you have any questions regarding the legal and ethical steps, as ma'am has already covered all the types of entities, what are the different support systems, what are the different uh, things, benefits to a registered startup, right? So if you are having any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask. Yes, SRP Rajkot. You can unmute and ask a
Uh,
question.
yes, yes, yes. Good evening, madam. It was a
Good
really
evening.
great
Good
presentation.
evening. Good evening.
Thank you so much for sharing such insights. So, if I want to know more, or if I want to have that presentation, or so, can you please share us?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. I will share with you so that you can have all the points. So, you can just go through it if any point is left. Yeah, no worries. Sure. I will share with sir, and it will be given to you.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you.
and can you, if you please provide your email ID or any contact details so that we can contact you if required.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm writing in the chat box so that
Yes,
anytime
please.
if you need any guidance, you can ask me for any assistance.
Sure, sure.
I hope everyone enjoyed the session and got to know about the different types of entities. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are very much audible, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I would like to thanks Dr. Rekha Kumari ma'am for being with us and share their valuable insights regarding the how to start up, what are the different types of startups, how they can get registered, what are the different entities. That is the basic thing that all those who are interested to get started, get their own business as a startup, right? And all the different benefits given by the government. This was a very insightful session regarding the basics, what things need to be kept in mind while initiating your business or initiating your business startup. So we thank you of Saurashtra University on behalf of SUSEC as well as Department of Human Rights, Saurashtra University, to be with us and shared your valuable insights. Ma'am, we'll be keeping this recording on YouTube with your consent, and so whenever anyone is interested, they can view this recording and get the insights regarding how to start up and legal and ethical aspects. Thank you, ma'am. We are ending this meeting. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
जो इंडिया के पिक्चर अच्छा स्टेज होता है देखिए